Hola. Good morning, students of Standard 9. Welcome back. Yet another phase of the Indus Valley civilization. Today we are going to deal about the origin of the Indus Valley civilization. Many scholars have different views about the origin of the Indus or the Harappan civilization. So this can be categorized into two ways, foreign and indigenous. Many historians feel that the Indus Valley civilization was of foreign origin. It was the offshoot of the Mesopotamian civilization, as they said that certain similarities were found between the Indus Valley civilization and the Sumerian, that the Mesopotamian civilization. And many people migrated from there and came back and settled in the Indus basin. Therefore, they regard as this civilization was a foreign civilization. Second theory is that indigenous origin, but that foreign origin theory have been rejected by many scholars because they did not find any ample proof regarding their theories. So second is the indigenous theory. Many historians feel that the Harappan civilization had a deep root in the Indian soil because agriculture was the main occupation of the people and it sprang up as a result of the ruler to the urban because it has a deep root in Indian subsoil. That means it is Indian origin. Therefore, this theory is proved to be correct because recent researches have been made that the Indus Valley civilization or the Harappan civilization has evolved from an agricultural output or the agricultural community. So this is the origin of the Harappan civilization, or we call it the Indus Valley civilization. Next we have the extent. The entire Indus Valley civilization or the Harappan civilization is triangular in shape and accounts for about 1.3 million square kilometers and was considered the largest area among the ancient civilization. So it was the largest area among the ancient civilization. Now what is the important features of the Indus Valley civilization? One of the important features of the Indus Valley civilization was town planning. So town planning was the important feature of the Indus Valley civilization. So it is also known as the urban planning because of its infrastructure and various skills in planning and designing of the buildings. So in urban planning we have the city. The city was divided into two parts, the citadel and the lower town. The citadel was built on a raised platform to protect it from flood, and many important buildings like the Great Bath, the Great Granary and Assembly Hall and Town Halls were in the upper raised platform called the citadel. Then we have the lower towns. The lower towns were the houses of the common people that work, like the peasants and others. They lived in lower towns and both of them were separated by a wall. Second feature is, unlike the main streets, they followed a grid pattern. The main streets followed a grid pattern. That means they're running from north to south or from east to west so that they can be cleaned automatically by the prevailing winds. Third feature, houses at street corners were rounded in shape. The houses at street corners were rounded in shape so that the carts could move easily. That was done to the drains. Each house has its own drain and is connected to the main drain. And the drains were covered drain and there were manholes at regular intervals to clean the drain. This shows that the drains were constructed in highly scientific lines, and this marks that the high civic sense of the Indus Valley people. Fourth is the streets cross the main roads at right angles, dividing the cities into square or rectangular blocks. Follow? Next is the house. The house buildings were also there. So the house that the set was built on the set plan on a high mound, as already told you that they were set in a high mound to protect it from floods. And each house had its own rooms. The houses range from varying sizes, smaller one with 2 rooms, a bigger one with many rooms, and even multi-story buildings were also constructed during that time. That means the sizes of the house varied from smaller one to the largest one. Then the entrance was from the narrow lanes and that cut the street at right angles. The entrance of the house was from the narrow lanes which cut the streets at right angles. Fourth, kitchen was placed in a sheltered corner of the courtyard. That means the kitchen was placed in a centered corner of the courtyard, which was usually at the ground floor. There were rooms for storehouse and other materials along with the courtyard. Then each house was made of brick and wood, and lime gypsum were also used to make the houses apart from the brick and wood. Next we move on with, that is, next we meet the monumental architecture. In the monumental architecture, we have already learned about the Great Bath in the previous topic. The Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro was a remarkable feature of architecture of the Indus Valley people that we have already discussed. And then the granaries at Harappa. The granaries at Harappa was also another feature of the Indus Valley people. It was believed there were more than 6 granaries situated to the south of Harappa, and to the south of there were floors of stones were there, as the Indus Valley people were primarily agricultural people, and it was seen that the floors were covered with rectangular pieces of stones. These stones were used to thresh the grains, and in many crevices of this rocks, of the stones, we can find the grain of wheat and barley was seen over there. So the historians conclude that these were used for threshing the grain and storing the grains in the granary. Then apart from this, also shows that the granary was built on the raised platform on the banks of river Ravi. That means these grains were carried on by sea to be brought on here and threshed and taken out the grains. And also these 2 barracks were also seen over there, which suggests that the laborers must have been living there and working. The 2 barracks suggest. And also the transport of the grains were brought from the boat, as it was situated near the bank of river Ravi. So therefore the great granary serves as a grain house for storing surplus grain of the Indus Valley people. Then we come down to trade. The Indus Valley trade was the biggest organization of the Indus Valley people, as the Indus Valley civilization was highly urban civilization with great infrastructure and planning. So they had an elaborate trade system. So many people that traded in metals, stones, shells, etc. And usually there was no measures or no unit for money. The trade was carried on with exchange, or we call it as the barter system. Then centers for metallurgy were like Mohenjo-daro, Harappa and Lothal. So they were the centers of metallurgy, dealing with the metals and other weapons and tools. Then the trading coastal towns were also there, from where they would have their trade relations with Southeast Asian countries or other countries. That is the Lothal, Surajgoda and Balakot. They were the important trading coastal towns in those times. Then weight and measures. Now the Indus Valley people, they had a system of weight and measures, and the weight were their weight divided were of cubical stone weights. The basic unit was 16, equal to the modern 14 grams. Larger weights were multiples of 16 and the smaller ones were the fraction of 16. So they were cubical in stone weights, they would measure in the multiple of 16. Art and craft. Figurines of the clay and terracotta stones and beads have been found at different sites of the Indus Valley civilization, and also the seals also reveal that the Indus Valley people were master in art and craft, and they made figurines of clay and terracotta, like we have already seen different arts and crafts that they have made in the carts, or we can see the seals reveals the toys and the bullock carts, animal figurines and human figurines have been made using the clay and terracotta. That piece of, also it says that a piece of woven cloth was discovered at Mohenjo-daro, and the textile impressions were found on several objects. This shows that the people were aware of cotton and weaving, and many weaving spindles have been found during the excavation in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Reveals that the art of weaving was also an important occupation of the Indus Valley people. Transport. As we have seen, the Indus Valley people, they carried overseas transport through overland sea route. That means as land routes were not available to them, and so they carried on their trade routes by sea. And we have seen already, or during the excavation, they have seen the bullock carts showing by the trade inland, and boats have been discovered in many places by the archaeologists. This shows that the trade by the transport by sea or water transport was common, and even land for many of the crafts are revealed. The seals reveals an acre, that means that resembles a modern tonga cart, have been found during the excavation. Shows that people use the horse cart also to carry their loads or to move from one place to another. Yeah? Then ornaments. The ornaments, the Indus Valley people were fond of ornaments. So they used to make precious ornaments using stones and precious stones, jewelries, as we have seen from the bronze figure of a dancing girl. You can see the girl wearing beads, bracelets, armlets, etc. That means they made beautiful designs of jewelry using the stones and precious stones, like the necklace, the armlets, the bracelets, bangles, etc. This shows that both men and women were fond of jewelries and ornaments. Then these were some of the traits of the civilizations that we have come to. Now, this mighty civilization, that the Indus Valley civilization has been referred to so far as the highly developed civilization, is believed to came to an end around 1800 BC. Now the historians, they hold different theories or different views regarding the decline or the downfall of the Indus Valley civilization. Many historians believe that the flood and earthquakes was a major cause for the decline of the Indus Valley civilization. That means it is believed that the flood must have come and submerged the entire city, and the city was drowned. And as the evidence have been found that the Celtic part has been found at the top of the cities, which suggests that it has been submerged by the floods. Then also it was believed that certain tectonic movements of the earth, like the earthquakes, have also made the level of the land rise and has stopped the course of the water from going there and left into a barren land. So this suggests that the flood and earthquake must have destroyed the Indus Valley civilization to a greater extent. Then second, we have increased aridity. Increased aridity means, according to Dr. D.P. Agarwal and Sood, they believe that the Indus Valley civilization came to an end due to the increased aridity of the land. That means, as river Ghagar was the main source of river over there, and Satluj and Yamuna being the tributaries of river Ghagar, and it was believed that river Ghagar dried up, leaving the Satluj and Yamuna also to change their course, and as a result of certain ecological disturbances, this area was left in increased aridity and the Indus Valley civilization came to an end. Then third, we have deforestation. As the Indus Valley civilization was a Bronze Age civilization, we can call it, and a large amount of wood was used in making bricks, houses, furniture, and also making potteries and wares. The wood were used. So this resulted in the cutting down and onslaught of the trees and led to the deforestation and left the land as complete barren. So many historians, they also believe due to the deforestation also led to the decline of the Indus Valley civilization. Now finally we have attack. It was believed that the Indus Valley people were attacked by certain foreign invasions that completely destroyed and shattered their myth, as excavation had been found that in a particular house 13 persons were slaughtered and their bodies were lying there, and in a single house, that this also suggests that there have been an attack and that completely destroyed the Indus Valley civilization. So we see these were the points that were declined, but nevertheless the Indus Valley civilization is also a rich heritage for us, though the civilization has declined, but it has left a lasting impact on us. So therefore we see certain practices like religious ceremonies and other things that the Indus Valley people have performed that still lies into the deep root in our present culture. Like we see the religion of the Indus Valley people, they worship Lord Shiva or Pasupati, and same thing in the modern Hinduism today, we find the people following the same track. Then the mother goddess also we find it is there. So this also proves to be a rich culture and heritage to our whole society, that is the Indus Valley people. So this all we have for today, and I hope you have understood the topic well, and read the topic in case if you have any point of this difficulty, you can clarify, or you can read through the text. The assignments have been given in lieu of all these topics. Please go through it, try to solve the assignments, and take care. Till then, goodbye. God bless you.